Welcome to 2Cents FC. I'm your host, Amobi Okugo, back again with my guy, L. Each week, we'll be discussing topics from around the soccer world and giving you our unfiltered thoughts and opinions. This week, we're joined by host of the Shirtless Plantain Show and habitual line stepper, Scams, or by his real name, Tosin. This week, we'll be discussing diversity in soccer media and making 2 Cents award nominations. Tosin, Scams, how you doing?
I'm good, man. United doing well. Everyone else is not doing well, especially Liverpool. So I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. So, it's a great way to start the new year by everyone else not being period. So, yeah.
Nah, respect. It's such a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for taking the time. I think I want to give a shout out to Twitter because we wouldn't have known each other if it wasn't for Twitter. I think that's just the power of Twitter and soccer. So I just wanted to, come out right from the jump and just say, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, and it's crazy because we all have people in the same circles. But we would have never connected if it wasn't for Twitter. So that's the craziest thing about it.
Nah, respect. So when I first followed you, it was because of your hot takes on soccer or football, however you want to call it. But what we ask every guest on the show, when did you fall in love with soccer?
Man, I don't even think there was a time I remember that soccer wasn't in my life. Everyone knows I'm Nigerian, Yoruba on both sides. So I was born in London, and when I was growing up in London, my dad he almost went pro with Tottenham. So he's been playing he would go Sunday league with his friends. So as early as I can remember, I was 2-3 years old, going with my dad to Hackney every Saturday, go play ball with my dad. So I remember my first football experience was 1994, England versus Nigeria. It was Nigeria wore these kits they only wore once, and that was the game. It was an England-Nigeria friendly in 1994, and that was my first ever soccer game I remember. Literally, I'm 4 years old. I remember this. It was never a time the soccer wasn't in my life. Some of my earliest memories, my dad was supposed to take me to '98 World Cup. Literally the day before, he was like, "I'm not going," and that's when Olise scored the shot that everybody remembers.
Yeah, versus Spain, right?
Yeah, it was Spain. Okay. My dad was at that game, and I was so mad. I'm 8 years old, seething. I'm and he was like, "I'm so sorry, I didn't take you." And it was '96, Man United versus Liverpool. Cantona scored a volley from outside the goal, and it was 1-0. I think it was the 87th minute, and my dad was hot. He's a Liverpool fan, since forever. So I trolled him, became a United fan, and then he kicked me out the house. My younger brother, my brother Benga, so. Yeah. He took me and my brother out the house, put us outside the house, and my mom's pregnant. So she comes home what are my boys doing here? Dad kicked us out the house. And she was like, what? Says, yeah, United won. So my mom comes home and sees her 4-year-old outside the house. My dad's upstairs asleep. So this is just how soccer's always been. It's always been this competitive thing in my family where everybody's played, everybody's watched. So yeah.
No, respect. And so, when I first found you on Twitter, when I first connected, you always did a great job of the diaspora with Nigerian athletes or Nigerian soccer players that, played in the States or played in, other leagues or Britain. Can you talk about how that kind of came about?
I think it's just been a thing. I think especially being Nigerian, and you're connected to the diaspora, you realize that there's a lot of us who want to connect with the national team. I've always been a Nigerian national team fan. I have every jersey since '94. I have both the World Cup home and away jerseys. I have the '98 World Cup jersey, '96 Olympic jersey, and then the 2002. So I've always been connected to the national team. So I've always seen there's players who could be eligible for both Nigeria and England. And I've just always been okay, even since Agbonlahor days, I remember Gabriel Agbonlahor's Nathan Defonso from Aston Villa. I remember going back then and remembering he's Nigerian. So it's for me, it's if you're if your dad's Nigerian, your mom's Nigerian, you're both I don't care. I want you to play for the Nigerian national team. Respect. I remember when Eze, Iwobi, and Aina first tried out for Nigeria in 2017. I was yeah, we need Eze. And now I'm seeing him now. I already knew the kid was talented. So it's just always just been something. And I don't know if everybody remembers, but the 2014 Nigeria World Cup team was horrible. I went to Philly to watch Nigeria versus you remember in Chester. So it's out there. I watched them play. I was bro, Nigeria's team is bad. And as soon as we went to the World Cup, I was yeah, we need to start calling diaspora kids. I was this. I was these guys back home, no offense to them, but these dudes can't play, man. I was we need to get players who are playing in Champions League football every week, man. We can't do this. So
what's your favorite jersey? Because, you're talking about the 94, 98 golden generation.
I'll show you right now. It's not even a thing. Don't even gotta think about it twice. This one, the
okay,
white one. Yeah. So this is a gift that my girlfriend got me for my birthday. So this is like the holy grail. I've been looking for it forever. So that one, and then the '96 Olympics. So those two, it's not even a question.
It's not even no discussion.
Yeah, those two. So
okay, respect. So, what is the origin of the Shirtless Plantain Show? You know, a lot of people were excited when you finally, broke off and decided to do your own thing. A lot of people were waiting. You finally did. You got your second collection that just came out. I know we're gonna have that in the show notes later. But talk about the origin.
So it's actually something I never actually wanted to do. I actually got bullied into doing it. So if you got good friends, like your friends know who you like. My good friend, I'm sure you guys probably know him, River is Wild. You guys have probably seen like their clothes. I retweet them a lot. It's one of my he's like my brother at this point. We're both Yoruba, so we're family. So he was in LA for a little bit. And this was the summer before the World Cup 2018. So he was coming home and he was like, yo, we're about to do a YouTube show. And I was like, cool. I was like, who's going to be the face of the show? And like all three of my boys in the chat was like, you are. And I was like, no. I was like, I don't sit in front of the camera. Like I'm on Twitter and that's all I do. Like maybe I'll do a podcast here and there, but like, no. Like, you don't have a choice. We already made this decision for you. Like we already know your personality. You're going to be in front of the camera. I'm just like, I'm not doing this. So when my friend came back from LA, I was like, yo, I'm sick. I was like, I know you. It's like, you're not sick. You're lying. Like, we'll give you a week. If you don't come next week, we're not doing this. So I'm in front of camera, like the first episode, nervous as hell, like taking a shot of Crown Royal, like, yo, I hope I'm fine. It's like the first two episodes, I was nervous. And then the next thing you know, I was like, yo, I'm mad comfortable with this. Like, this is something I've always wanted to do. And they're like, we told you this is what you're going to do. So it went from just being like something we did with the World Cup. And then we ended up just doing a couple episodes on YouTube about about this league that came out that season. And like we tried to do more. And then this year we're like, okay, how do we differentiate ourselves? So we decided to do podcasts, which we just had a whole bunch of guests and like just really spoke to people on like a level of just like how we're talking now. Like I feel like a lot of people don't understand that when we speak about soccer, like there is a community. Like yes, you watch the games and all that, but there's so many storylines, there's so many like narratives you don't know, which is why we're like, let's just start the podcast. So now we've seen like people really like us and what we do. We're like, okay, 2021, we got a whole bunch of stuff that we've planned already and just like really want to delve into it. So yeah, I mean, the name was actually the funniest thing about the name was that my boy, I'm not going to say his name, but you probably seen me too. He was like drunk or high, like 2 or 3 in the morning, right? It's like, yo, I feel like frying plantains, but my shirt is off. I'm like, are you frying plantains shirtless? It's like, yeah, yeah. So when we were coming up with a name, we're just like, yo, we all love plantains. You were frying plantains shirtless at 3 in the morning. Let's just call it Shirtless Plantain Show, and it's stuck. And this is like one of those names where just like you're like, how are y'all selling shirts but y'all shirtless? Like it doesn't make any sense. But it just made sense. It just made perfect sense. And it's like it's a diaspora thing where everybody in the diaspora eats plantains. Like whether you're Black American, Caribbean or Nigerian or any other African country, everyone eats plantains. So yeah, it's kind of stuck.
No, respect. And you're wearing one of your shirts from the second line. Talk about unserious, because you've made that.
Yeah,
I feel like you got to get that trademark because I feel like you've made that word. Everyone's like, "What's unserious mean?"
So it's like one of those things that growing up, you hear your uncles and aunties call, when you hear your like West Indian, like Black aunties, everyone, we all remix the English words. Like there's so many words that don't exist, but we make it exist. Like I heard my uncle one day like calling somebody on this. I was like 6 or 7, and it just stuck. It's just like you just hear people say, "Oh, this person's unserious." Like even my dad says it from time to time. I'm just like, it's always been around in the house. You've always heard it. So I started watching like more and more football, and like just started like I was like, man, these people are just unserious. They're just stuck. Like it literally like. I don't know what it was, but it literally just became a thing. It's just like, it's something that you always use every day. And then just became like, now it's almost an adjective in a sense, like, that this person is being unserious, so it just stuck.
No, respect. Yeah. I think you're like one of the funniest people on Twitter. Like I'll be sometimes on your page, just like, what is this guy talking about? Just causing drama.
It was the funniest thing. My little sister texted me today because she unfollowed me on Twitter years ago. But she texted me this morning and she was just like, yo, I need you to start tweeting because every single day I have a friend texting me about this is your tweet. She goes, I know, that's my brother. Like I've lived with him my whole life. Like, yo, he's literally the same person online as he is offline. And it's worse to see it like other people see it. Like, if I see something, I want to comment on it. It is what it is. So
yeah.
And I wake up every morning and choose violence, man.
Yeah, the funny thing is I never actually want to use it. I never actually want to use Twitter. Like I actually hated it. Like my cousin, his name is Makinde. Like I did a podcast with him recently. So shout out to my cousin. He told me in 2011, like, yo, you should make a Twitter. You have a personality for it. I'm like, why do I want to make a Twitter? Like, who wants to read people's thoughts? Like, that's so weird. Like, that's weird. So I made it in 2011. I parked the name. I was just like, I'm not going to touch this. So 2013, 2014, I started tweeting more and more. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then, like, just it stuck. And I was like, damn, like, I really love Twitter now. So, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yo, so give us some context. So you were born in England. When did you move up to the States?
Literally August 25th. When did Leah die? I think the day after Leah died. Literally the day after Leah died, I moved to America. So 2001. So literally, like, Leah died, I'm in America. Like that's how it happened. And 2 weeks later, 9/11 happened.
That's what I was gonna say. Wow,
that's a hell of a milestone, like a
Aaliyah
a marker.
Died.
You know what I'm saying?
So here's the crazy thing. Aaliyah died. I moved to America. 2 weeks later, 9/11 happened, and then a couple months later, in February, the DC sniper happened. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to be in this country. Like, nah, like America's cursed, man. Like I was like, I just don't want to be here at all. Like you go from like playing football every day, like having like I actually got into Charlton's academy at the time. I was actually supposed to go play for Charlton in London as part of the academy, and I moved to America. So it's like you have all these tragedies happen, right? And then you're already comfortable in England. I'm like, I don't want to move to this country. So that's when I moved to America. Was 2001. So.
And talk about that because you've seen what it's like to grow up in England from the soccer standpoint to the States. I know we was in the clubhouse room a couple weeks back, or maybe earlier than that, talking about some of the things when it comes to the development of youth sports. And I definitely got to ask you a follow-up question that I didn't get a chance to. But talk about the differences between growing up in England and then growing up in the States from a soccer's perspective.
I think the biggest thing is like we play every day in England. Like I remember literally my first 11 years living in London, like we would play in the morning, we'd play before school, during school. We get in trouble playing in the hallways of school, like nutmegging each other, little stuff like that. Then we go outside for playtime. We play after school. We play during then, play after school. Then we go home and play. And it's like you're doing it 7 days a week. So like you're unconsciously developing skills that like a coach can't tell you, coach can't tell you how to do a step over. Like that's something you just learn. You're in the park with your boys. You're doing that.
Exactly.
So eventually you at some point you realize, it's ego too. As human beings, we're all egotistical. It has to take a serious egotistical thing for you to be like, yo, I'm good enough to go play for an academy. Because who the hell thinks like who's telling somebody like at 7, 8 years old, like, yo, you're good enough to go try for an academy? That's some ego stuff in your mind. You have to tell your parents, like, yo, let me go try for this academy. So we tried out for a lot of academies, and like it was a lot of racism, which is part of why we moved to America. Like my dad would tell you, like we tried for this academy called Birchmere, and me and my brother like literally were better than everybody. But the reason why we didn't play, obviously, because England's very racist, and they were just like, no, I'm gonna put these kids on here. So we didn't play for them, and then the biggest difference I say is like when I came to America, I wasn't playing every day. So you go from playing like 7 days a week to come to a country where you're playing maybe once a month, for me at least. And my brother found a team that worked for him, so he was playing every day. I'm going from playing every day for like 11 years of my life, every single day, to like playing maybe once a month. You lose your skills, you lose these things. Like sometimes you lose the passion for it. And then like when you come to play in America, like the coaches are like failed, high school guys who like they have authority and like they're like, oh, run all day. It's like, no, like football is literally you play with your feet. You're not running all day. So that was the biggest difference. And I fell out of love with football for a very long time. That was one thing like I've never admitted to anybody, but it was like for 5, 6 years, I hated football. Like I didn't watch Man United for a long time. Like I just hated football so much. And I don't know when I fell back in love with football, but I was like, damn, I can't believe I was missing this. Like I hated it. Like I wanted to go watch NBA, NFL. Like I just hated watching soccer. Like it literally became like a bane of my existence because of how bad the coaches was here. So that's kind of like my experience. And then like I started playing more with like a team. I'm sure you probably heard of them on Baltimore Bays. Like I trained with them. So when academy system became a thing in 2007, 2008, I actually trained with Baltimore Bays before they won. So this is like the team like Chris Agorsa and like I'm sure you heard of Chris.
Yeah. We played on the same team together for a little bit.
Yeah. So in Philly, right?
Yes, sir.
So here's the thing: is like I'm telling people this all the time. I'm seeing like the Tyler Adams, like bro, like there's been talented players in this country. Like there's a lot of talented players, and like. I just think that America's finally getting it right, where like you're seeing like the Martin McKenzie's finally getting the big move. Like at 19, 18, they play a little bit in MLS and they go at the right age to like to Europe. I feel like America's always had talent. I feel like the world is finally starting to catch up and realize like, oh, they're here now. Like I remember when I was hearing Jamie Carragher say like, oh, I didn't know America had like good players. It's like, Jamie, they've always had talent. It's just that you just never have seen it. Like
Exactly.
Chris Agorso was on trial with Man United when Man United won the Champions League in 08 for like 3 months. Like that goes to show you that there's been talent here. It's just like, how do you develop it? And that's the biggest issue I think America has, like developing the talent and like coming to find the right places to find the talent, because it's a huge country. Like England is small, like America is huge. Like you have hotbeds like North Carolina, your Marylands, your DC, your Kansas, your Chicago's, your Californias. You do have your hotspots of where the talent is. It's like America's too big. Like you can't find like talent like in the most rent. It's too big. So I think that's the biggest thing. I know that was a long-winded answer, but yeah, it's like the biggest difference is just development and just trying to play every single day.
No, I think that's a great answer, and I'm glad you gave that insight, because a lot of people don't know that you can lose favor or lose your passion for soccer because of the lack of, I don't want to call people out, but the lack of valuable experience from the upper management, and it's really sad to see. But hopefully, as more exposure comes to the game, we're going to get more resources and more opportunities. And then I love what you said about the talent has always been there.
Yeah.
It's always been there. I hate when people talk about they're just developing better. It's just more exposure. That's what it is.
That's all it is. Like, I mean, I remember I played with a team with like, I'm going to say some names that some people might not know, but like you might know them. Like I played with a team with a kid named Chris Lebo, who played at North Carolina.
Yep.
Played with Christian Barrero, who I went to high school with. I played with Andrew Bulls, who played at UMBC. Mike Rose, who played at Notre Dame. Whole bunch of guys who played D1 football. No one on that team is pro. And that's the thing that bothers me about America is like you see kids, right? My brother's team won 4 national championships as youth. How does one person on that team, well, 2 people, Joe Jao, my brother, is still pro? Like you have 18 boys who won, youth championships at the younger level. That shows that like something's amiss. That like you can't win 4 or 5 championships at the youth level and none of them are pro. Like something is wrong with you, not the team.
Exactly.
And I'm seeing it like it frustrates me because I'm just like, I remember Joe Jao when he was 12, and like to see him get his debut with Klopp, I'm like, I'm proud of him. Like that's my little brother. I'm like, I'm so happy for you. Like you deserve to win. And like I remember there's a kid named Lester Dewey on my brother's team.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was, you remember? Yeah, Lester was at Marseille. It's like, he's 11 years old at Marseille. Like he's playing with Koulibaly. Like he remembers Koulibaly growing up. Like so, like this isn't nothing new. Whenever I see these plays, I'm like, this is just finding you guys experiencing that American people are like talented. You guys have finally seen it. Like there's always been talent here, and I think the thing that bothers people is that like a lot of talent are kids that were either born overseas or like diaspora kids. Like there's a lot of those kids are like Liberian, Ghanaian, like from other countries. And like I guess it bothers them. There's a lot of Hispanic talent too. I remember there's a kid my brother played with, Jonathan Guzman. Like I remember him and Juan Agudelo, they were 15 years old. It was Red Bulls versus Baltimore Bays. These two literally were like having like 1v1 and like 11-11. Like I'm like watching these 2 15-year-old kids. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, how are you guys this good at like such a young age? The problem is Juan got the chance to go pro, and like he's still like he's bouncing nonetheless. I remember 15, 14, Chelsea wanted Goose to go to the academy in London. Like that's how good this kid was. Like he's El Salvadorian kid, like so good. And like all of a sudden now he's like, he's not doing anything with football. Like we text each other from time to time. It's like, man, I can't believe that like your talent just got killed like that. Like this is the problem with America. Like you guys have such a generation that just kind of died. I'm happy for this newer generation though. Like you're seeing like your Weston McKennie's at Juventus, which to me is insane. Like Weston is playing with Cristiano every day. Pirlo's his coach. It's like I'm happy for these kids because they deserve it. Like a lot of these younger black kids, they need to win. And like I'm seeing like something like Owen Otasawi for Wolves. I'm just like, yo, y'all don't understand how talented this generation of American kids are. Like you're having a kid like Owen Otasawi who's like playing against Burnley and like Arsenal. Like you're having these talented kids. Like this is your midfield now. Yeah, Yunus Musa and Valencia. Like you guys, Americans, need to understand. Like you have something special. Like this is
exactly. It's like please just don't waste it.
Yeah, don't waste it. Like don't kill these kids' spirits and like talents because you guys have something really, really. And you've seen it. Like you played in the U.S. youth national team. Like you've seen like the amount of talent. Like I remember my brother was telling me he saw Neymar Coutinho when they was 17 and how levels Coutinho was to Neymar at that time. And this goes to show you, like, if you develop your players right, the sky's the limit, So
yeah. And to speak to that, because I was the 91 age group when the 92s, when Joe Jao and Stefan Jerome, and they smacked that Brazil U17 team with Neymar and Coutinho. And if you look at that U17 Brazil team now and like where some of those players are compared to the 92s from the US team, it's like you said, you gotta cherish your talent that you have, and go and figure out those bumps in the road. But you talked about something else, Maryland. Where do you rank them? Where do you rank Maryland when it comes to youth development from the States? Yeah, in America.
Top 3. It's not even
top 3, huh?
Top 3. Like, I'm gonna go on a limb and say Maryland might be the best, and I just feel like I just see from what I've seen with Maryland, like it's stupid. Like the talent Maryland has had, like when I was growing, like Rodney Wallace played with my cousin. Like Rodney, you know Rodney played with my cousin. And like I'm looking at that old Casimir base team. Maguchi and Yewu used to play with my coach. So like these are like the talent alone in Maryland is dumb. And it's like the thing is it's split too. So it's like a lot of people try to, like, when I say the DMV, people think that's Baltimore. It's like no. Baltimore is Baltimore. Like we're our own. I'm from Baltimore, so we're our own. But then there's a DMV, which like the DC areas is like that's like the PG County, Howard, like PG, Montgomery County, like Northern Virginia. So like that area alone, that's like the where the Freddie Adu's are from, the Joe Giles and Lester's. And then you bring to Baltimore, which is like where we're from, my brother and like everybody else. Like Maryland is like crazy talented hotbed, and it's just like it's so competitive here. Like I remember my brother was getting recruited for high school. I mean, the statute of limitations is gone now; they can't do anything. But my brother was like in 5th, 6th, 7th grade getting recruited by high schools. Like, how are you recruiting a kid that's in 5th, 6th grade? Like you're recruiting kids who are like 12 to come to high school. Like that's how crazy it was out here. Like that you literally like it was a competitive thing where like, you know, you try to get the best players at a young age. Like you're giving kids like, you know, scholarships, and there's like they call it scholarships, you know, whatever. Yeah. It's crazy. Like the amount of talent like in Maryland alone. Like I'm just like, yo, this is insane. But then like there's also Jersey. There's also
that's what I'm saying. You got Jersey, you got Dallas, you got LA.
North Carolina is another place where like I feel it's slept on. Like North Carolina, South Carolina, like spread North Carolina, that triangle area. They in North Carolina, like there's some stupid talent out there. Like it makes no sense. But for me, Maryland's top 3. Like I'm just, maybe I might be biased because that's where I'm from, but like I've just seen so much talented players out here, man. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Like you know Peebo and all those other guys. Like I remember like Joe Giles played with a team called the Roadrunners, which with Leicester, and this kid named Deshaun Ragland. Like I remember when I was watching those kids play, I was like, these dudes literally, it's like they took kids from like the city, like Baltimore City and like the city of DC, and they're just like, yo, we're just gonna make a super black team and just like run everywhere. Yeah, literally what it was. So, and it sucks, and that's where what's it called is from too. He used to play for NYCFC, and he retired. And he's a photographer now. And it's like,
Ethan.
Ethan's from out here too. So yeah. So like, there's a lot of talent out here. So
there's a lot of talent. Yeah, you guys. I'm willing to argue that. Yeah. I'm willing to argue that. That's fair. No, but yeah, to be fair, you guys had a lot of talent back in the day. You know, obviously Joe Jow, Lester, Shaq.
Big Shaq. I remember Shaq. Yep.
Yeah. It's so much talent everywhere, and it's just sad to see like people lose, you know, their love for it, or people kind of get, you know, put to the wayside. So with this new generation, definitely excited to see, you know, the explosion that they're going to have on the global level. Yeah. So let's change subjects a little bit. Let's talk about you. You come from the agency world. What kind of work do you do in the space, and how have your skills? I feel like you're kind of humble. You're kind of shy. How have your skills translated to all the stuff that you're doing in your work now?
So I'll give you guys a long-winded story. So I actually wanted to be a lawyer originally. So when I was 14, 15, my biggest idol was Johnny Cochran. So like I wanted to be Johnny Cochran. Like I'm like you're really in high school, like yo, because I went to private high school. Like again, like talking to Maryland thing, like it's a private school thing out here. Like everyone loves private school. So we went to private schools, and like they needed more black people to let me get in. So whatever. I'm going to college preparatory high school. So they're giving me things that like I'm learning about myself. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna become a lawyer. So like first I was just like, I bet I'm gonna be a lawyer. I took a law class my freshman year. Man, I picked up my bag so fast and walked out. I was like, yo, I don't know what I'm gonna do in my life, but it's not law. So I was like, I'm a sociologist. Didn't want to do that. I transferred to community college. I'm like, I still know what I do in my life. Like, and this is the problem. You try to make a kid at 18, 19 figure out what he wants to do. Nobody wants to know. Nobody knows anything at that young age. So like I'm transferred colleges 2011 to go to school called Tosin. And that's when I met this guy named Sam. And again, like I always say this all the time to everybody, my biggest thing in life, my biggest lesson is everybody's put in your life for a reason. Like you meet people at certain points in your life for a reason. So my friend Sam, and this is gonna be a full circle story because this is how we also know each other as well. So my friend Sam, he actually used to work for Bernie Sanders, doing Bernie Sanders campaign. This is a few years ago, but Sam was heavy into like the media stuff. So he's another Nigerian guy, and he saw me one day chilling. He's like, "Yo, like you look like you're into creative stuff." And I was like, "How does somebody look like they're into creative stuff?" He's like, "I just can tell." So he introduced me to the whole media world, like communications, advertising. And I was like, "Oh my God, you can get paid the right words." I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that was even a thing." So I started doing a communications track, and then that's when How to Make in America came out.
Oh, yeah.
I was this is my the Cuddy area, like the blog area day. So in my mind, already moving to New York. Like I'm like I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Move to New York, and then I graduated college and like was doing internships in Baltimore, and like I was staying with my ex at the time, so I would go back and forth to New York. So my ex would go to school in Columbia, and like I would stay with her on weekends. Sometimes stay with a couple weeks. And Adidas opened up an internship. So my boy, I'm sure you guys know him, Josh Kissy. Like Josh is super creative. So Josh actually got me an internship with Adidas. So I'm working Adidas, like doing fashion PR. I'm like, yes, I'm finally living in New York. I'm about to do this fashion world. I got into the fashion industry, and I was like, yeah, this is not it. I was like, it looks glitz and gams, but this is not it. And I was like, all right, how am I gonna figure this out? So I switched over to the agency side. So I'm doing PR with Ogilvy, and Ogilvy is one of the biggest PR agencies in the world, like top 5. And like I'm working in the New York office, which is called the Chocolate Factory. So that's 27 floors, and I'm just sitting there like every day, like, man, this is an amazing job. But it doesn't pay the bills when you're like, when you're doing a low entry job. So I moved to another agency, and that's when I was like, yo, this is not it. Like this is not it at all. Like, and I kept trying to figure out like what exactly do I want to do in my life. So I left New York again. I left New York and I came back to Maryland to figure it out. I couldn't find a job, so I started selling cars. Don't ask me how I was selling brand new Audis. Like I don't know how any of this did anything. So in the meantime, I was hustling and like doing freelance stuff for people. And I've already had this advertising background of just like working with people and like telling stories and things like that. So I was like, I can't sell cars anymore. I'm not good at this. So then I decided to go work at Burberry. And I was like, what am I doing in my life? Like, why am I in retail again? Like, I already did this. How I paid for college was doing retail. So I was working, like I mentioned, I worked for Complex for a little bit. So I did that. And then that's when I got this job in New York as a copywriter. And I was like, finally, I'm a copywriter. So I did this job. And it still wasn't satisfying for me. I was like, yo, this isn't it. I was like, somehow this isn't it. And I got in trouble, actually. This is when I knew, like I tweeted this. This is when I knew I had to quit, like advertising in general, because there's not enough Black people in the industry like that's like me that's help people out. Like in New York, a lot of the Black creatives know each other because of everyone's jobs are like everyone gets the same job in a sense. Like they kind of rotate the Black people in the room every single time. Like it's always like, oh, it's like a rotating figure of Black people. So my roommate was just like, yo, bro, like I don't know what we're gonna do. Like like the pandemic hit, so like I'm out of a job, and I'm just like, this is early this year, and like this I've cut the story short a little bit, but I'm here like in a crossroads of my life. I'm like, I don't know what I want to do in my life. Like an interview with Bayern Munich, and like they didn't hire me to like do some of the, like some social stuff with Bayern Munich. So I'm like, all right. I was like, somehow, some way, I don't know what I'm gonna do in my life. I was like, if this works out, it works out. So this is when, again, like I said, everything happens in your life for a reason. Somehow during the pandemic, Turner got rid of the rights for Champions League, and CBS took it early. So CBS is now trying to figure out their like structure and like how they want to sound and things like that. A job opportunity opens up. So everything I've done like the last 10 years of my professional career kind of came to a halt because it's just like I've learned so many different ways of like learning how to speak on the internet, how to like speak to people, just how to like even my soccer, like even the way I talk about soccer, like I learned that like just through Twitter and things like that. And I got this job at CBS where like I'm now like, one of the most like important people for their social image. So like I'm helping CBS develop a social image, and like it hits me every day. I'm just like, I'm working in football. Like it doesn't like it there's days where it just hits me. I'm just like, this is what I do for profession. Like I love this sport so much, but this is literally this is my 9 to 5. So it's like the reason why I told this homegrown story is like a lot of people see like the the job and like they see everybody working and doing these sexy things. It's like no, it doesn't come overnight. Like there's gonna be a lot of times where like, yo, I don't even want to do this anymore. Like you sometimes are just like, why am I even doing this? You got to do a lot of work sometimes for free, and like it's not the easiest thing, it's not the sexiest thing to wait, but it happened, and like your opportunities will happen if you put in the work. And that's the biggest thing I've always said is like I was doing a Shirtless Plantain Show out of love and for free, and like because it was fun, and like this is what we want to do. And the main reason why they took me seriously because they saw what we were doing. They're like, oh, this person actually knows this stuff. So that's kind of like all my skills are really just kind of built up, whether it was just like advertising, whether it was copywriting, whether it was like marketing, whether it's knowing how to like, say this word or say that word. So everything kind of worked itself out. And like, I just feel like I'm at the perfect crossroads right now with like my career. So.
No, man, that's such a great story to tell. And what advice would you have for someone that's young that's trying to get into like working in the sports space? I took a lot of lessons from what you just said right now, but I think it's good because a lot of people want to get to where you are or learn how to get there. So what's one piece of advice?
Don't be scared of failing. Like you're gonna mess up so many times, but don't be scared of that, because in those failures, you're gonna learn something about yourself that's gonna prepare you for like the next opportunity. So do not be scared to like. I can't lie to you, yo. I've been fired from every single job in New York that I've like worked in the advertising industry. Like there, except for Ogilvy. Like I got fired at MSL Group because it wasn't a good fit. I got fired from there. I got fired from Ketchum, wasn't a good fit. Like I remember like they called me in the office and I was like, yeah, I'm done here. And I was like, I got fired 3 times. I got fired 3 times. I had to fail and like I had to learn about myself in those 3 opportunities. And like I've literally, if you go on my LinkedIn right now, like I've applied to over 800 jobs in about 4 years. And the one job that I have that is the most perfect job, like I didn't even apply, is because of connections. So it's like you have to learn how to fail and learn how to speak to people and like be very friendly. Like how do you become a personable person? Like like people like when you become somebody that people like, doors open for you. Like you could be the most talented person in the world, but if you can't work within a team, it's not gonna work out for you. So that's like the biggest advice I can give to people. It's like don't fail and learn how to like work with people.
No, that's key. That's major gems right there. And I think for anyone listening, the fact that you said, when you notice something that you weren't passionate about, you quickly moved. I know it's crazy times and people have to sacrifice, but sometimes your happiness and your passion trumps everything. So find something that you're happy about.
I mean, if you're not happy, like, yo, listen, it was show. Like, I remember when I was selling Audis, right? And like, I sold this brand new Audi, like, customized it out. Then, like, I stopped selling cars after that because it's like, yo, I don't like doing this. Like, this is not fun. Like, I'm not the sort of person that will harass them like 5 times. They're like, yo, you coming in to buy a car? Like, that's not me. I'm like, if you want to buy, listen, like, this is a $65,000 car, $95,000. This is a very expensive car. You would know offhand. You don't need anybody to push you to come in and buy a brand new Audi. Like you either know or you don't know. There's no selling techniques that like, yeah, maybe some people that can work some magic, but listen, ain't nobody coming in. Nobody's coming in to like buy a $95,000 car off the. Like you can't just like mark like that's the years of like planning and investment. So
that's true.
That's like when I realized doing all these odd jobs, like none of this is fun. Like none of this. Like once you find what you love to do, life becomes so much easier for you. And it's hard. Like, and it's like I'm definitely coming from a place of privilege because, like I said, like I like have very good structure at home. My family like help me out and things like that. So I am speaking from a place of privilege. But I'm just saying in general, like if you can find that sort of like balance between figure out what you love and like trying to find your passion, like you will never ever fail like in life. You'll be so satisfied with yourself.
No, respect. And I think another thing was that when you started Shirtless Plantain Show, like a lot of your skills that you had acquired from all your jobs and experiences, like really blossomed. And now you said the CBS job came from what they've seen from what you did with the Shirtless Plantain Show, and also your ability to connect with so many different people and build out relationships. So I think that's another piece of people definitely need to take away. And with that being said, so what's your, as you head into 2021, I know you can't give us too much, but what's your big vision for the Shirtless Plantain Show?
I mean, when I look at it, I'm just like, there's not enough Black people talking about soccer. Or like, first of all, there's not enough people talking about soccer on the level that we need to see it at. Like, just like, whenever I look at Twitter and things like that, there's so many people who message me like, yo, I didn't even like soccer until I started following you. And it's just like, okay, if we can take this to a much like, I'm talking about like just a national level, like a ESPN, like a CBS type level of just like, yo, there's people who look like you, right? And like I always said this, like, and I might be wrong, but I feel like once Black people find something cool, the whole world thinks it's cool. Period. Like that's how I see it. So I'm like, if we can make soccer cool enough for Black Americans and just Black people in general, like, yo, he looks like me, they look like me, and we want to follow them, then our job is done. And that's really it. It's like, and it's just working more with like people like you guys. Like, there's so many talented there's so many talented Black people in America. Because I'm gonna want to talk about England because we know like that's the popular sport in England, right? Like, there's so many people doing their own thing in England. Like, there's so many talented people. But it's just like there's so many of us in the media space in America, like this Black Americans, it's like want to take the sport to the next level. It's like, how do we all do this together and like take this to something that like, yo, you guys have to understand we've been here. It's about time that like you guys start taking soccer more seriously, like because we can tell you these stories, you know. So that's the main goal, is to really just like to just in a sense take over and like, yo, we're not playing with you guys anymore. Like we're here now. And, like,
No, I respect.
are you guys gonna listen to us, or we're gonna force you to listen to us? So it's like kind of that thing now.
I love it. Like, so give me like 3 stories that you would love. Say, you know, hypothetically speaking, CBS gives you the bag, or someone else, some entity, or you guys do it on your own. Maybe a 2 Cents Shirtless Plantain Show collab. You're like, these are 3 stories that I want to tell. I don't care how it's told, but these are the stories I want to tell.
First one is going to Nigeria and literally going to not just Lagos, but like we want to talk about like going to like northern Nigeria, go to Igbo land, go everywhere in that country, and really just tell these stories of just like, yo, this is why we play ball. And like I'm talking about some real like raw off the street type thing, because people don't understand why people play ball in Nigeria. Like I want people to understand, like, and I want subtitles. Like I want to know, I want like that direct Igbo, I want the direct house, I want the direct Yoruba, like direct tip. Like I want everybody's language, like literally. So like I'm not blending it. Like I want you to understand, like this is why we play the sport. This is why we do it. Another story I want to tell is just like go back to London too, and like tell the story of like Black immigrants in London, and then like the same thing for America. It's just, for me, it's just telling these stories about Black men and women, and like just really like why we play the sport. Because that's another thing too, is like doing our show. Like I think one of the biggest things that I love to do this year was like having more women featured. Like I spoke to Rocky Hekaya, and like I learned about like Dutch Black women playing football. And like, you know, there's so many talented Black, you know, women that's like playing the sports. Like, how do we tell their stories? Because like we know the amount of talented Black men, and we look at the U.S. women's national team. No offense to them, but like, there's not that many Black women on the U.S. women's national team. There's maybe 1 or 2. It's like, how do we tell these stories of like these people? So it's like, I really just want to tell people stories. So that's really it. Just give me the bag. Let me go to these countries and let me just film people and just talk to them. Like have interviews like we're doing now, because you start to realize like, yo, there's so many talented people. Another one though, I want to talk to Ballo. I really want to talk to Balotelli. Like that's one.
I like that.
Like I feel like Ballo is one of the most like I feel like he's not understood. Like he's very, very misunderstood. And like that's somebody like he's our age, you know, 19, he's like 90s. And like we come from a generation where like he felt so much pain, man. Like, and I feel like he's very confused as to like, you know, his identity and that. So that's somebody I really want to talk to is Ballo. I want to talk to Ballo for sure.
I'm definitely subscribing to when those shows go live.
Yeah,
I'm definitely in, especially that Nigerian one. I'm all for that one for sure.
You know how like, you know, your Nigerian friends all the time. Like my dad hates new soccer. Like he hates it so much. My dad, I remember watching. I forgot what game it was.
We can have our own podcast about this.
My dad came downstairs 3 weeks ago. Oh, I swear to God, he came downstairs, right, watching the game. My dad literally looked at it for 5 minutes. He just discussed because there's no step overs, there's no flair, there's nothing. Nobody's doing shoulders. I'm like, yo, like calm down. It's like everybody's a robot. He hates youth soccer so much.
Yeah.
Like, he hates it, like in the worst way. It's like nobody's doing step overs, and like this is the guy like who, when he would watch Okocha in 2000s, Okocha would piss him off, but like he would die to see Okocha right now. Like that.
So your dad had the VHS tapes of like that whole era?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad, even when I played, he's like, yeah, you guys put me to sleep, man. You guys play so boring. Play to the right, long ball, cross. It's too boring. Oh my goodness.
But we have the same exact parent, because they say the same exact. He says the same thing to my brother's team as well. It's like, yo, you guys are so boring. Like nobody's doing stuff. No one's taking anybody yard. He's like, I'm going to sleep. He's like, I'm going to sleep. Oh my goodness.
All right, you said what I got?
Yeah, because I know you got excited when he was talking about the docuseries and stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that's definitely something we looking to do over here at 2Cents Sports. So I mean, we gonna collaborate. We gonna find some ways to do some stuff. And we'll get into that diversity in soccer thing in our first topic. But before we jump into that though, I want to play a quick game of two truths and a cap with you. So 3 facts about yourself. 2 of them are true. 1 is a lie. Me and Amobi got a guess. So there you
go. All right. Let me give you 3 facts. I played basketball growing up. I am the oldest of 3, and I am a. You guys probably guessed it already. I actually like I'm right on now on the spot trying to figure it out. Let me see. I played the trumpet growing up.
Oh, dang. You grew
I'm
up in
gonna
Maryland, so
say
that basketball one gotta be. Oh, that's tough. But Nigerian trumpet instrument.
I listen to your podcast though, so I know.
You
I'm gonna
probably
say you probably played basketball, but you was trash. So there's a balance there. So I'm gonna say the trumpet is cap.
okay.
Nah, I think basketball's cap. You tried out, you play for like a week, but then you never play. Yeah, I think you did trumpet.
But
You're
you
the
still
oldest.
played though.
Trumpet's actually cap. I actually played the drum. Yeah,
Oh, I knew you played an instrument, but I didn't know. All right,
I
respect.
played the drums, but yeah, I played basketball 1 year, 7th grade. Like I couldn't play ball for shit. Like I couldn't play basketball at all. But here's the thing: like I could play defense, right? So I remember one time I got fouled, and like my coach was like, "Yo, go to the line." I was like, "I'm sick." He said, "What you mean you're sick?" I was like, "I'm hurt." I was like, my coach is this old black dude. He called me and was like, "Hey Nick, get on the line. What you doing? Get on the line." And I'm like nervous as hell. I shoot 2 air balls and go, "You are sick." Never played again. It was so bad.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I listen to the show, so I know your stories about playing basketball, coming over here, and like having to kind of adapt to the sports in America.
Right.
To like
First week I came here, man, like they were talking about Allen Iverson. I was like, "Yo, Allen Iverson? What you mean Allen Iverson? Like, we're talking about David Beckham. Like, what is this like? What are you talking about?" Like, man, this short just signed from Cincinnati. He's talking to me about Allen Iverson. Like, I don't know who the hell that is. And like, it's when I first became a Ravens fan, and like I was like watching Ray Lewis, and I was like, I still look, man. The first couple years I was watching NFL, I was like, I don't know what this sport is. But like now, it's like I know like off the like like the back of my head. But it's like the first couple of years I was here. This when NBA Live 2003 first came out. Like that's when I really got into basketball. Like that 03 NBA Live. I was like, okay, now I'm into basketball. Like this is my thing. So that America confused me, man. The first couple of years I was here, I was like, I don't know what anybody's here doing. So
how do you feel about that statement? It's like if America's best athletes played soccer.
That's the stupidest thing in the world. Stupid as hell, man. Listen, I keep telling people all the time, look, man, you go to Nigeria, I'll find you some like 5'5" dudes who will literally dribble you out your shoes. Like I'll go to Nigeria right now, go to the street like in the middle of Lagos and find these 5 dudes who are like 5'5". Like they won't need to be athletic. You just have to know how to manipulate the ball.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Like you could be the most biggest, powerful person. Like even like we see big people all the time. Like it's very rare for somebody that big to like be that good on the ball. Like Pogba and Zlatan like so rare. Because then you like everyone else is mad clumsy. So yeah, I think it's stupid. Like it's so stupid. Especially playing here and like knowing that, like the best players I've ever seen in my life are all tiny people. So it's just like, no, it's not true at all. Like Messi, look how tiny Messi is. Messi's like 5'7" at best. And he's like the best ever. Maradona was like 5'5", 5'4" at best. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I don't even like try to get in those discussions because it's like I can't. I'm not. It's not ready. They're not ready for that conversation.
You're a pro, but you've seen it. So like that's like you are at the highest level. You play the left, you know what it is.
It's like the field is too big for someone to say like, oh yeah, if he was 6'5" and ran like, or I could just play a high line and now he's offside. So
exactly.
It's like
spoken like a true defender.
Yeah,
it's like
you get like a 5'8" Irishman, and now you're just like hurt for 95%. Like, you know, you're gonna play against someone like James McArthur or John McGinn, and now you're hurt. This is like
exactly.
You got someone like James Milner chasing you for 90 minutes. It's not that fun to be that bad. Like it's a different thing. So
that's cool. That's cool. All right, Elle, let's get into the topics.
All right, for sure. So we touched on diversity in soccer a lot a little bit earlier. So you mentioned getting a job with CBS, and I must admit you immediately brought a level of sauce to that account that wasn't previously there. So salute to you for that.
Mad respect, man. That's love for real.
And we also, spoke about the lack of diverse voices on the media side for the game. So what do you think? Let's get into the solution space a little bit. What do you think maybe some solutions of how we can get heard a little bit more on the mainstream level? Or like what things do you think we can do to kind of, I guess, insert our voice even more on a high level?
I honestly think it's not even anything that we can do. Like, I feel like we're doing our best. It's like, are they listening to us? That's the thing. It's like we can knock down the door. It's like, are you listening to us? Because we are here. Like, there's multiple Black people in this country who are creating their own soccer spaces and soccer podcasts. Like you guys, for example, and like there's Banter FC. There's so many other people who are doing stuff in this country. was like, are you guys listening? Are you guys paying attention? Like, shout out to Black Arrow, because Black Arrow's been doing a lot of crazy stuff. Like, again, like life goes full circle. Like one of the guys that Black Arrow hired, Ime Umo. Ime was like my freshman year of high school. Ime was like my shadow. He's a, you know, he was a senior year of high school when I was there, and Ime like kind of took me around. He's one of the very first Black people that I ever saw like soccer in this country. I was like, oh, that's crazy. So it's like there are people out here doing stuff like Black Arrow, but like there's also like not that many of us. Like it's like they kind of have like just a limited amount of us, and like that's it. Like I remember went to an MLS event in February before the pandemic hit. It's like the 25th anniversary kickoff. And I remember I was speaking to you probably know him, like Jamal, like you know Jamal, like Mr. Northcutt. I think that's his
name. Yeah. Dr.
So met him.
Northcutt.
Northcutt. Yep. Yeah. So when I met him, you could see in his face he was shocked to see me, but so happy because it was like, oh, there's more than like there's us here. Like, you know, it's like people don't know that there's people like us out here, you know. So it's like, how do we get on the map? Number one, number two, how do people know like this is what we're doing? I think another thing is too is like when they see stuff like, you know, like the jokes and stuff that we make on Twitter is like, this is part of the community. Like you guys understand, like when we talk about players and things like that, we make jokes about them. This is jokes. There's a lot of respect because like I know what it is to be a professional football player. You know, so it's just like you guys have to understand the culture aspect of it. Like when we watch players, we always make jokes all the time. Even when we're not watching, it's like we make jokes about players, but we know how hard it is to play. So it's like, how do they take us seriously? Number one. Number two is like you have to understand there's more than one of us. Like shout out to Aaron West too. Like Aaron is like one of like the main people who I just see like always working. So big shouts to Aaron, Black Arrows. It's just like there's some of us that's coming up, and also Mel D. Cole. Big shout out to Mel D. Cole. Mel's been
that's the photographer, right? That's
the one? Yeah. Mel's been doing his own thing for a long time now. Like he's doing stuff for the Premier League now. So it's just like shout out to Mel. So it's just like the more of us are in it, the more of us are you're gonna see more of us like, you know, bringing out great content. It's like take a chance. Like don't be scared. Like don't be conservative. Like I feel like a lot of people try to like be cookie cutter and like try to like, you know, get people who are just doing like in the square box. Like no, sometimes you got to color outside the lines and realize like some of us are talented as hell. We are reckless, but it's like you just got to understand like this is just who we are. Like you will have more fun, like, and you have more great results when you have, because even the players respect. Like you see more Black players like who are in the sport. You see, you know, they see someone who looks like them. They're like, oh, I'm more open to speak to them. You know, because you know it's an unspoken rule. Like whenever you're like whenever you're like in Black media, they look like I met Busio, and Busio was looking at me like, oh damn, that's another Black media person here. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. So like these players get it's like an unspoken rule. So it's just like take a chance. Like that's really it. Just take a chance on people.
No, I respect that. And like listen, but don't just try to listen and like take little sound bites and like spin it. Nah, take who is speaking and have them part of your platform. Don't just like, oh, I like what he's saying. Let's try to remix it. And nah, take a chance, like you said. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and we know Black American culture kind of dictates what's cool, like you mentioned before. It dictates what's cool in this country, also around the world too. Like everybody's looking at us. So this in the way that we kind of, you know, use our own, we mix our own personal culture, our own Black hip hop culture, whatever you want to call it, with our love for soccer, and then blend those two things together. It's a unique, you know, feeling. It's a unique take. And if you know. These companies always want to get cooler, you know what I'm saying? So like tap in, you know, you already got the plug at CBS.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for y'all to get that show, you know what I'm saying? So like they need to tap in with us. Stop playing around.
That's the biggest thing is like I'm seeing it now is like, you know, when CBS took over and like we've literally like just based on who we've hired, like, you know, they've done a really good job. That this is probably the most diverse like group of people I've ever like worked with in my life. Like I'm very genuinely impressed. Like I'm so impressed every single time. Like my team is, you know, me and this other Nigerian kid, like two Indian people, and like our producer in our show in London is a Black woman, and like we have Micah Richards on the air. We have, you know, Alex Scott. It's just like I'm seeing every single day. Like we're generally trying to like make this a thing. So it's just like people are slowly seeing it, but it's just like more people need to take chances. Like. And I think it's just a media thing in general. It's like there's not a specific soccer channel in this country that's showing 24/7 like soccer stuff, like old games and things like that. But that's also down to rights, because like that's another thing people don't understand. Like in this country, it's like there's a lot of rights issues. Like you fucking lying, boy. You get that season assist. You have a lawyer show up your door in the morning, so you know we got to be careful about that. But yeah, it's just taking chances, man. It's like really just taking more and more chances. Like ESPN, like. should have been doing some soccer stuff. Like that's something like I'm shocked that ESPN like don't do. Like ESPN FC is not even on TV. Like you got to get ESPN Plus. So it's like you got to figure out like what's your strategy. Like, do you really care about the sport enough to like bring more people more Black people in it? So
yeah, so I also want to shout out the homies over at Culture podcast. Atlanta United. They also touch on Premier League as well as MLS, and then River City 93, the homie Yogi. Doing USL level and lower league soccer, home sweet soccer as well. The homie Jason Weintraub. So it's a lot of us in there, kind of, making our way. So as long as we kind of continue to infiltrate on every level, I feel like we can really build something. And also sticking together. You know what I'm saying? Everybody clicking up, supporting each other. Like I always retweet y'all. Make sure I retweet y'all episodes when they come out. Everybody else as well. So just making sure we get as much exposure as possible. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people don't even know that people are doing this. It's just like, I remember being went to college and messaged me, was like, yo, you do a soccer show? I was like, yeah. And they started watching and they're like, yo, I didn't even know you knew. Like, I was like, yeah, it's like, this is what we do. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's jump into something fun. So it's the end of the year, right? It's the last show of the year. This is something new for us. This is basically the end of our first year. At 2Cents FC. So I want to do a 2020 end of the year award nomination show. Okay. Right. So we're gonna run down a list of categories. There could be like superlative, some could be like more traditional, like award show categories. And then we're gonna have the people vote on who the winner should be for these various categories, right? So all these categories are unisex. So male or female, whoever you think is the best fit. I want to get you guys nominations. So let's kick it off. First one is class clown.
The biggest soccer class clown, like the whole entire sport?
Yeah, whole entire sport.
It's got to be players or like just anyone?
It could be anyone.
Oh, okay.
Open it up.
Yeah, you might be the nominee right there.
Eric Bailly. It's my 100% Eric Bailly. Like Eric Bailly is the biggest class clown that I know. Just because like every way he plays, it's like I'm watching him yesterday. It's like this 80th minute. We're looking for a goal. He backheels the puck. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why do you do it? So mine has to be Eric Bailly for sure.
Yeah, I'm going with Patrice Evra. Yeah, Patrice Evra is class clown. That man's like snitching on people, telling jokes.
Like telling stories he shouldn't. Like it's like, yo, by the way, Henry saw what's it called in the starting lineup, and he like stopped watching the game. Like, yo, you don't say things like that. Like, you're not supposed to say that.
Or that was a personal conversation.
Yeah.
I'm going with Patrice Evra on that one.
Yeah, it's something you keep going like that.
All right, next up, best hair.
Ooh.
There's been this weird like phase of people getting like these fake dreadlocks. So I'm gonna have to call one of those people out. I don't know.
Name more.
You said best hair or worst hair?
Yeah, worst. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh, we do both best hair and worst hair.
Okay,
so
best hair
first.
Probably say Genie won out him because like he's probably the only one like an actual good barber. So shout out to Genie. I think thinking about everybody else in the sport, like all the black guys are just like Genie might be the most consistent with like a good barber.
Over Lacazette?
I mean, because that's bald now. So
true. Yeah.
He's fully committed. He's fully committed to being bald.
Fully committed bald man.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, it's probably Genie.
Yeah.
You see,
yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's a good shout.
Yeah,
his line is always sharp.
All right, it was a close second there. We got to have at least two people to vote on.
Genie.
I'd say Pogba just to like piss people off. They always worried about his hair.
Yeah, maybe Pogba. I'm trying to think, man. Like the guys in England to come to like New York or something, find a nice barber, man. Like
HD Cuts cut everybody in England, don't he?
Yeah, he does. He basically cuts everybody.
So you're saying HD Cuts fucking everybody up?
Nah, I can say that. HD Cuts gonna come to me and like, yo, like you know, he's gonna beat me up. But nah, I'm trying to think. Like
Benzema.
I'm gonna go Sergio Ramos. Yeah, let's say Sergio because Sergio looks like he's in Peaky Blinders now. Like that is Sergio.
All right, Sergio Ramos. All right, let's go. So let's do worst hair.
Worst hair. Oh man, Antoine Griezmann.
The
braids.
Black man.
The braids, the Antoine Griezmann braids, man. I can't believe that. Like, he looked awful with that.
Yeah, that was a force. Yeah, Griezmann and Neymar. Neymar needs to like just simmer down a notch.
Yeah.
Right. Writing these down. And Neymar. All right, best goal celebration.
Knee slides. Whoever does knee slides, I don't like knee slides are the best. Like, if you do a proper knee slide, it's just I think knee slide is the best celebration. So
let me just pick somebody who does knee slides. I'll do Mbappe.
Yeah,
Rashford. Rashford.
I like Sergio Ramos. Like
he's a troll.
Yeah, he's
a troll.
He's a funny guy.
What does he do?
I think Sergio Ramos, he does everything. Like, he piss you off, and like just he literally whatever he feels is gonna get. Yeah. Actually, I take that back. Jamie Vardy celebrations are so good because Jamie Vardy, like, especially when fans with it, Jamie Vardy would like score and know he would piss you off, and like he'd just do whatever, like, to get on your skin. So I'll take that back. Jamie Vardy for sure. Now I think about it, like Jamie Vardy for sure. Like, he gets on people's skin.
Yeah, Ramos, he'll like do like the Conor McGregor, he'll do the Cristiano, he'll do a knee slide. He mixes it up. So yeah, I like his and he scores a lot of goals. It's like, damn.
He takes penalties and free kicks.
It's like, yeah, Real Madrid. Imagine how many more goals Benzema would have had if he at least like took like 25% of the penalties.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Cristiano leaves and Ramos starts taking them. Like, damn.
All right. Next up. Best dress.
I got my answer off the top of my head. It's not even close. I don't know why her name is not coming up. Casey Stoney, Maine United women's coach. Casey Stoney's the best dressed woman. I'm not woman. This is the best dressed, like, in general. She is not even like, honestly, like, I tweeted this the other day. I actually have a list. Let me actually find my list. Like, I literally have a list.
And while you're looking at the list, talk about your the menswear hours things that you got popular.
Oh, so menswear, it's like I told you, I was heavy into fashion. I was to be a stylist. That was like one of my first jobs. I thought I was legally going to become a menswear stylist. So fashion's always stuck with me. I used to work at J. Crew and I used to work at Burberry, like I said, and then like it's always been a part of me and like just growing out my style every single time. So there was a time where like I was into that pity umo stage when I was on Tumblr, like where I used to like want to wear suits every day. Like, it was I'm glad y'all didn't know me then. But I was time of my life where like I was like before Jadena came out. So like it was before Classic Man, like way before that. So I wanted to go to Italy and like go to like these middle of Rome and just take pictures in my suit. So it became a funny thing where like I would just make fun of like the people back then, like just they became too serious. So I would always like hashtag like menswear. So like it would be like if someone has a horrible like outfit, I'm like, oh, it's menswear. So it's a good outfit, like it's real men's hours, just kind of like differentiate the two. And it just became a thing that stuck. And like when we started doing the collections of clothes, like we were just like, yo, like let's just make merch. And because somebody messaged like, let's do this. And like I was like, okay. So my boy's a designer, like, and he like kind of like we give him ideas and then he just runs wild with it. So yeah. So just trying to do fashion has always been a thing of mine. Like I like literally I remember when I moved to New York, I was like, I'm gonna go fashion style. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna work for Vogue. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And I got to New York and realized like it's not sweet. Like it is not.
It's not like that.
It's like 500 Days of Summer. It's like expectations versus reality. It's like it's literally not like that at all. But best dress, I literally have a list like Hector Bellerin, Tim Weah, Memphis, Kazuki Honda, David Alaba, Casey Stoney. I'm gonna forget one more person, and Kellen Acosta. I have to shout out to Kellen. Kellen's actually like really well dressed. So those are like my choices right there. If you want to repeat it, or you got it.
Oh, you can just text that to me, bro. Like DM it to me or something.
I'll DM it to you. Yeah.
I liked how you brought in Kellen Acosta because I feel like if you want to find ways to, obviously NBA, NFL does it with like league fits and stuff like that. And shout out to someone that we all know, Aboon, for what he's doing with Live Reads Football. But you definitely got to incorporate, fashion, U.S. domestic culture. So, like, shouting out Kellen. I know a lot of MLS, USL guys are sneakerheads. Definitely got to bring that, especially with jersey culture as well. Best dress, as bad as I don't want to say it, I got to go with Pep. I think his style, as a coach, is pretty well.
I was watching United Women's play because of Kristen Press and everything, and I saw when I was looking at Casey Stone, I was like, "Yo, this woman is getting fit on." So when I Getty Images, I was looking at her like, "Oh my god, like she's been getting fit." Like,
she's been had fits.
I was like, "Yo, this is ridiculous." I'm like, "This is like the coaches were like, yo, this is." She was wearing the red coat with like black leather gloves. I was like, "Oh damn, like you getting the fits on." So, like Casey Stone.
Truth be told, on the women's side, they're some of the best dressed individuals in the game.
Yeah,
in all those sports.
Facts.
For sure.
I'm like, they're shoe plugs because some of their shoes, like they be getting dressed.
I think the best dress player of all time, by the way, is Nakata. Like I feel like Nakata is like because like here's the thing, like Nakata like was good enough to like win Ballon d'Or. Like he was that good. Yeah. He only played soccer like to fund his fashion career. So once he was like good enough, he like retired after the 06 World Cup. Where did Nakata go? Now he owns like a fashion company in Japan. Like just literally, just all he does is just like wear his all day. That's all he does.
Definitely got to add Ashlyn Harris up there too.
Yeah,
she be getting fits off.
I'm gonna have to break that one up. I didn't want to break it out into genders, but since it's getting long, I'll break that one out.
So he for real has his own fashion line. Or
like he's like doing his own fashion thing, like literally in Japan. Like you just Google Nakata and like Nakata fashion. Like he literally like used soccer as his way to like get to know the world. Like, got a few trips around there, a few World Cups, and then he just
so that's the life right there.
Yeah.
All right, next up, most clutch. Let's say most clutch player.
Lewandowski.
Yeah, this year got to be Lewandowski.
Like I remember Bayern Munich against Leverkusen, and I was talking to one of my friends and was just like, "Yo, you guys are down 1-0 right now. It's gonna be 1-1 and then the half. Lewa scored." And I messaged and I was just like, "Yeah, 90 minutes? Lewa's gonna score." Then Lewa scored. So he's just like, Bayern's not that good. Well, they are good, but like Lewa's just like a great equalizer. Like he's always there. So he's like the most clutch.
He's just so ruthless. It's crazy. Like you could have. He doesn't even need a full chance. It's a half chance and it's a goal.
Yeah, Lewa and Ramos. Lewa and Ramos, yeah. Because Ramos is like between Ramos and Benzema. Like every time Madrid is failing, it's like either one of those two dudes, one of those two like score a goal, or, like come up with something. So it's like Lewa, Ramos, and Benzema. So
all right, next up, most unserious team.
Arsenal.
Arsenal. Yeah. I know you're gonna hate that, but Arsenal.
I didn't even have to think about that twice.
I can't even lie, man. Like,
it's like too big of a story team to like be doing what y'all doing on a consistent year-to-year basis.
Like Arsenal always has something silly every single year. It's just like if it's not one thing, it's another. It's like I don't know how Arsenal behave this way. Like y'all fans are like y'all way too loyal, man. Like y'all are entirely way too loyal to fans. Like they need to give y'all like a gold medal or something for just sticking by it.
I mean, once I pick a team, I can't switch. Like that goes for any sport. So it's like I gotta suffer. All right, who will be another unserious team? Because Arsenal got to compete with somebody.
DC United. Yes.
Yeah, that's facts.
That's pretty good. Oh, that's pretty good. Another unserious team. I would say I'm putting Barca up there. Yeah, I don't know what it's going to be bad when Messi retires. They're in for a rude awakening. Messi covers a lot of problems, puts a Band-Aid on a lot of things. When he like is finished with that team, it's gonna be scary hours.
Yep.
Okay. Word on the street is coming to Miami, so but that's another discussion. All right, most unserious player.
Ooh, this is gonna be difficult. There's so many of them. There's so many of them, and like they're probably gonna send a season. The agent's gonna send cease and desist letters to my address.
We should just give you top three.
Top three. All right.
Go ahead, Tosin.
Man, like I'm literally trying to rack my brain right now.
I got one.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
I got Gareth Bale. This man's having a laugh.
Yeah, Gareth Bale's definitely up there for sure. Dang, like that I can't even think. Like I'm really just like trying to rack my brain. Like Coutinho for sure.
Where's he at now? Is he back at Barca?
Yeah, he has a new now. Coutinho for sure. You know what? I'm gonna give you guys a name that like you guys are probably gonna be like, yo, where the hell did that name come from? Royson Drent.
He still plays?
Royson Drent.
Remember Royson Drent? He got the transfer to Real Madrid back in the day. And it was Royson, like, why?
I always said like this generation of Dutch football players stopped caring about football and all want to become like rappers. Like every single one used to rap. Like I don't know what's wrong with them.
I'm sure you could add Memphis Depay to that list then.
Nah, Memphis is cool.
Nah, he be balling. I'm gonna add Mendy, Man City left back. I don't know what he's doing sometimes.
Yes. Mendy is like I love Mendy, but Mendy just
Mendy is all jokes.
Yeah, Mendy's just like Mendy doesn't care, man. Like Mendy, Ryan Babel. I'm gonna put Ryan Babel up there.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Ryan Babel could have been so good, but Ryan Babel just like I don't know like what happened to him. So I have who do I have right now? I have Royson Drent and Ryan Babel.
Yeah.
I need a last one. I'm trying to think. Danny Drinkwater.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's out here fighting little kids and stuff.
Yeah. Danny Drinkwater has to be up there. I'm sure I probably missed a lot of players, but like Royson Drent, Ryan Babel, and Danny Drinkwater are my top three right now that I can think of. I'm sure like when I get up there, I'm like, hey, I can say this person.
Chelsea keeper. I didn't want to say
Kepa?
Yeah, Kepa.
Yeah,
he got to be up there.
Kepa's not even serious. Kepa's just not like good at his job. It's not his fault. He's just not good at it.
He might be a candidate for the next one. The next one is most likely to rob your team financially.
Ooh.
Phil Jones.
You said Phil Jones?
Yeah, Phil Jones. Phil Jones has been in United for like 15 years now. And like he has played maybe in like 15 games, like the past 58.
What was the quote he said? He said, I don't think I would have a farewell match because only his parents would show up.
Yeah. He just said like, yeah.
Oh, that's bad. Most Oscar or Hulk.
Oh.
Who else? Who's the other guy? But he actually kind of balled out.
Joe Linton is another one.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of bad buys, man. Joe Linton's up there.
I'm trying to think of someone that's came to MLS recently that just like stole money.
I know someone. He's a Dutch dude again. He wore number 9 for Toronto, and I can't think of his name. Gregory Vanderveer.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Any defender that's wearing number 9, I know is getting ready to rob your bank.
Either he's on violence or he's about to commit violence. Either on the way to violence or just violence. You know what? Number 9, it was Caleb Belarus. Actually, I'll take back my unserious one. I'll take back Danny Drinkwater and I'll give you a perfect one. William Gallas. William Gallas wore vapors as a defender. And then, in order for him to move to Chelsea, he said, if you play me, I know you won't, because he goes, I know you would have not played me. I'm going to score own goals. That's what he said. And you know what? I'm going to take back another one. I'm taking back Royce and Drent. I'm going to give you, what's his name? I just had his name in my face. Jermaine Pennant. That is the pinnacle of unseriousness right there is Jermaine Pennant. He's number 1. Like
that's pretty good. That's
Jermaine Pennant is the first soccer player I've ever seen in my life play with an ankle tag on his ankle.
How you spell his last name?
Pennanat. So 2 N's A-N-T. Yeah. So here's the thing, like he got arrested for being drunk. He got pulled over for being drunk. And they asked him, who is he? He said, I'm Ashley Cole. Yeah, he said he's Ashley Cole.
That's so dirty.
Oh, that's
it's
so
story. I don't know if I have enough time to tell you guys, but like he scored a hat trick against Southampton, right? I wind it down. He got drunk the night before, so he didn't think he was gonna play. Wenger's like, "Yo, you're playing." He's like, he came back to the hotel like 6 a.m, and he's still drunk. And like Wenger's just like, "You're playing." He's like, "What?" So Vieira's like, "Come on, you ready?" He's like, "I'm drunk." Like, what do you mean, am I ready? Like, I'm drunk right now. So he goes on the pitch, right? and like scores a hat trick, and like after the game, he just throws up. It's like after that, like that was the peak and pinnacle of my Arsenal career. Like, Jermaine Pennant is number one most unserious football player I've ever seen in my life. That's
hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna add one to the rob your team financially list. I'm gonna say Mesut Ozil.
Oh no! You can't disrespect Ozil. That's just
that Ozil's not his fault, man. That's political stuff, man. That's not Ozil's fault, man.
It's political, but he's robbing us.
Free the guy, man. He didn't do nothing. He just stood up for what he feels right.
Hey, I'm on the free Ozil train too, but shit.
Oh, if we're doing that, Tevez then. Tevez would rather play golf than play for Man City.
Actually, you know who's the biggest rob your team? Emmanuel Adebayo. The true rob everybody. Like, he was getting paid by like Tottenham and like somebody at the same time. Like, he was getting paid by two clubs at the same time. Yeah. And Adebayo literally said, it's like, when I left Africa, when I left Togo, I didn't come here to be loyal to anybody. I came here to be loyal to my bank account. That's what he said. You gotta respect it.
You gotta respect that. They don't care about you when you're done playing. You gotta take care of yourself.
Any Nigerian man that poses a francophone man is just up to no good. That's how I know Adebayo is up to no good all the time. He's a Yoruba man claiming that he's from Togo. I'm like, bro.
That's what I was like. I was confused for the longest time. I was like,
yo, your name is Shay. Like, what are you talking about? It's so Yoruba. It's not even funny. Like,
oh my goodness.
All right. I also want to keep this in the context of 2020 too.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I know we mentioned there's some players who are like may not be of this era.
Yeah.
Or past their prime. But all right, cool. All right. So best overall team performance wise this year.
Liverpool or Bayern. I mean, I'll probably go with Bayern because they won the treble, but I mean Liverpool's just consistent. So it's either Liverpool or Bayern. Pick one or the other.
Yeah, I'm going Byron, and then my sleeper, I like Leeds. Yeah, for what they've done, bringing the team back, sticking to their style, being stubborn in their style play. Byron.
Leeds is chaotic, man.
Yeah.
All right, best overall player this year.
Ooh.
So far this year. I know the season's not over.
Lewandowski. Oh, this current season we're playing right now?
Yeah, 2020 calendar year.
Oh, Lewandowski.
Yes. Yeah, it's got to be lower. This man's just so lethal.
Yeah.
All right, who's a close second?
It's going to be a hot take, but Neymar.
Yeah, Neymar, like the way that even though Tuchel wasn't good, he was playing very well under him. This man's so silky.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, last one. Real one of the year.
What's his name? Dembaba.
That's a good one.
Dembaba like was in everybody's face. Like Dembaba and then Pierre Weber, both of them at the same time. So yeah. Actually, I will give you a third, Marcus Rashford, just because of everything that Marcus Rashford has done.
Waiting for that one.
Yeah. Marcus is, man, he's 23 and like he's just doing stuff that like people his age don't do, man. Shout out to Marcus Rashford, man. I'm gonna put Marcus Rashford number one just because he's taking on the government by himself and then scoring goals. So shout out to Marcus Rashford.
Yeah. Who do I want to go with? Real one. I would say Alphonso Davies, only because a lot of people, there's been rumors that like Byron's like, yo, you need to get off the TikTok and all that shit. And he just was like, nah, I'm going to keep doing what I'm going to do. And so shout out to him. Who else? Benzema. I think Benzema. He just, he don't care what people say. And
Ben's just like scores goals and then comes on IG and then like drops a nice
video
drone video for us every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Shout out to his cameraman.
And his editor too.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then yeah, that's it. And then obviously Rashford for what he's been doing. what you and Scams also said.
So one more, Kimpembe, because Kimpembe was the one who told all the PSG players get off the field, and he stopped the
with torn hamstring.
Yeah, he stole a counterattack by himself. So shout out to that Haitian man right there, that Haitian Congolese man. That's a ridiculous combination for a human being, by the way. A top player could be half Haitian, half Congolese.
Congolese.
Yeah, that's like final level francophone right there.
Yeah.
So. For sure. All right, so that's our list of year-end award nominees. Like I mentioned before, we're gonna have the timeline, vote on the winners, and then we'll come back on a subsequent show and give our winners out. But let's jump into another fun part of the show: no card, yellow card, red card. This is a rapid fire segment of the show where I'll grab some headlines and you'll use a soccer card system to give your opinion on said headline. So obviously, no card is I agree or I'm cool with it. Yellow card is I can go either way. Red card is I disagree or I'm not cool with it.
Right,
so jumping right in, no card, yellow card, red card. MLS invokes a force majeure clause to kill the current CBA months after restructuring it due to COVID.
That is a red card and a 10-game suspension. Because that is foul. I don't know what. But
yeah, it's like we're not even gonna let Christmas simmer. Yeah, we're gonna make this announcement before the new year. That's
in a Panasonic too. In the middle of a Panasonic, and like they over here like doing nonsense. Like that's a red card and like almost like you can't be spitting on people, man. That's nasty. So yeah, big red card.
Yeah, it's a red card. I just feel bad for my guys. It's gonna be a long winter. It's gonna be a long winter.
Okay. All right, next one. No card, yellow card, red card. The Premier League has no plans to pause amid COVID-19 spike.
It's a yellow card. I mean, like I would say a red, but like we know what the Premier League is, so they want to make their money. It sucks for the players, like 89 getting a break, beat in the middle of a pandemic. But hey, man, look, that's just the Premier League. Like we've all watched it our whole lives, basically at this point. So it's foul. Like it's definitely teeter on the red card. But they do one more thing, they don't go straight to the showers. So it's definitely yellow card.
Yeah, I saw Mourinho's tweet earlier. He was like, games at 6 p.m. We don't know if we're playing yet. Best league in the world. That dude's funny. I should have had him on like a real one, but that's for a later discussion. Yeah, I'm going to give them a red card. It's bad enough that they're like one of the few leagues that doesn't take a break for Boxing Day. Yeah, but they've been going since February, nonstop. Yeah, red card for me.
Okay. All right, last one. No card, yellow card, red card. Brian Reynolds to Juventus and Mike McKenzie to Mark. Is it Mark or Mike?
Yeah, sorry, Mark.
Yeah.
Mark McKenzie to Genk.
No card. Actually funny, I actually called Mark going to Belgium in the beginning of the month. I actually said that like he's the one like I feel like is going to be next up to make a big move, and I'm so happy for it. Like I think that he's a really, really good defender, and I feel like he just needed that next jump, and like he's going at the right time. I feel like if he waited another year, like it wouldn't be the same thing. So he's going in hot. So, and Genk is like, they've developed some of the most talented players in the world. So, Ndidi was there and Tillemans was there. A whole bunch of other talented players was at Genk. So it's good for him. And like with the other guy, Brian Reynolds, right?
Yeah.
So with him, it's like going to Serie A. I mean, you're only going to become a much better player. So I'm always, I'm an advocate for every American player going to a top 5 league, man. Like, just go and learn your trade, man. Like, especially at a young age. Like, we look at DeAndre Yedlin, like, we think it's like a normal thing for him playing weekly in the Premier League. It's like, yo, Yedlin's been out here. Like, so big shout out to those guys, man. Like, those guys out here, like, making moves for the national team. So it's only going to be good for America in the long run, too. So,
yeah, no card. I'm definitely glad McKenzie went to Belgium instead of going to Scotland. Not to say anything bad about Celtic or Rangers, but in terms of development, he has a much better track going to Belgium. And then, everyone was talking about, well, Brian Reynolds, he's barely played in Dallas. It doesn't matter. If Juventus calls, you got to go. That's simple as that. So, yeah, you do whatever it takes. Tell your agent, like, make it happen. I don't care. Let me go to Juventus. And
that's
then
that Weston McKinney effect right there.
Yeah, so get it done. So I'm happy for him. And shout out to Philly and Dallas. Two MLS communities that are doing it the right way. So no car.
Cool, for sure. So that's it for this week's no car, yellow card, red card. That's also it for the show.
Yeah. Well, fellas, thank you so much for having me on, man. I feel like we've been trying to make this work for a long time, and I'm just glad.
Respect.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm glad. Like, I'm rooting for you guys. You guys know that. Like, you guys are family now. So, thank you guys so much for having me on.
Perfect. Where can the people find you if they want to connect with you?
My Twitter name is Nigerian Scams with 3 S's at the end. My Twitter is Nigerian Scam. My Instagram is Nigerian Scams with 1 S. Shirtless Plantain Show on Twitter. Shirtless Plantain Show. And then, actually, is it that? I completely forgot our handles. Like,
we'll have it in the show notes. Don't worry about it.
So, you guys can follow me on that. That's my personal account. And then our Twitter name is, because I know like we have different names on Instagram and Twitter because someone decided to steal it. But our Twitter is The Plantain Show, and then our Instagram, actually, you just follow us on our website, shirtlessplantanshow.com. Literally will have everything about us right there. So you can go to our our Instagram, which is Shirtless Plantain Show, Twitter, The Plantain Show. So yeah, that's where you guys can find me.
No, respect. And for anyone listening, make sure you check it out. Got his new merch on the way. And then he's already actually live. And then they got a big year for 2021. So make sure you check it out. That's our show for this week. Thank you guys for joining. What a way to end the year. Subscribe, rate, and review. It helps us get discovered. Follow us on the socials at 2Cents FC. Check out our merch. I think Elle's rocking the hat right now at 2centsports.shop. It helps support the show as well. And tweet us your comments on the show and any topics you want me or Elle to discuss. Once again, the only show that give you unfiltered thoughts and opinions. Thanks again. Catch y'all later.
Peace out.